Alright, so I think I'm gonna today talk about fatherhood. I'm going to help a buddy move some stuff right now, so that's why I'm looking like scum. Oh, Carnival's in town. What do you mean? It's cool. But Father's Day is coming up, so you got all that stuff. But here's the thing. Being a father, it sucks sometimes. I'm not gonna lie. It sucks, when your kids sort of misbehave or don't listen to you, or they just, they're being frustrating. But even if, and I'm no expert by all means, so dear Lord, do not quote me on any of this. But so you got like your frustrating days. There's some days where I'm just like, oh my God, my son's gonna be the death of me. Like I'm literally gonna die because of his stuff. When he doesn't want to go potty or anything like that, it's just like, dude, just go freaking potty already. But then there are days like, dude, we need to get dressed. We gotta go to daycare. Things like that. And it hurts me inside. I'd love to be able to spend all day with him. It'd be awesome. But gotta go make the donuts and make the money. Gotta chase that paper. I think that's what chasing paper means. Whatever. But either way, it's just like, I get him off to daycare, I go to work, I come home, I get to see him, when I eat dinner and go to bed, and, those moments, even when it's frustrating, God, I love him to death, he's my son, same with my daughter, my daughter's 3 months old, so she doesn't really do much to stay there and maybe smile at me when she was gas, but, I'm considered blessed beyond means, I have 2 beautiful children. I have an amazing wife who helps me out with them. But, it's just, Father's Day is every day is Father's Day to me. Every day I get to spend with those 2 awesome kids, it makes my heart, warms my heart. And so, Father's Day, and here's my thing, it's like, oh, let's let Dad relax, like, let's let Dad take a nap, or, sleep in, or, screw that. I'd rather be, spend all day with my kids, till the lights go, till it's time to go to bed. That seems like the most, I know it's just a normal Sunday. Maybe go to the water, maybe do something special. Go to the water park, or, go for a bike ride, or, something. 3-month-old can't really go to the water park, so that's a terrible idea. But, I do these things and have fun, because that's, having a 2.5-year-old and a 3-month-old, yeah, it's a lot, it's frustrating sometimes, but holy crap, is it amazing. Like, I get to play with so many toys, and it's awesome. Like, and my son's awesome with his Legos, like, he just builds a tower, basically, and that's all he does. But it's like, I get to play with Legos again. Awesome. And then I'm trying to get him to Star Wars right now, so it's like, dude, we can play Star Wars action figures again. Like, I can be Darth Vader in the TIE Fighter, and you can be Luke, in the X-Wing, and maybe this time Darth Vader's going to win. Because let's face it, I know a lot more about TIE Fighters than he knows about X-Wings. So I definitely know how to win on that. And, it is really funny, because it's like, I'll show him how to play the tour, and he'll be like, no, it's completely opposite. Like, the ship doesn't swim in the water, in the water. It goes in the sky. Like, and I love that imagination that he has. Because it's just that childhood whimsical happiness, You don't get that from anywhere else. I mean, you could have that if you're, a grown adult, but, adults are more realists. And... my daughter, like, okay, well, Barbie, needs to sit with Ken and, do all that stuff. And, but it amazes me that, because, like, here's the thing. When me and my wife met, we met on OkCupid. And you know what? I'll be upfront with you. It was like one of those, like, I just gotten out of a bad relationship that, let's face it, was neither my fault or the other girl's fault. Neither of us were the best people to be in relationships at that time. I went on OkCupid, and I was just looking to see what's out there. I met my wife. We started going on a few dates. and after, about a month together, she tells me, hey, she's pregnant. And I was terrified. I was absolutely terrified because I literally, like, just got my own apartment, just got my first big boy job, and I'm like, oh my God, I am going to have to raise this child. But I've never been around a kid, so I have no idea about it. So I was like, all right, let's do this. Like, I'm not going to be, my father was around my whole life. I'm going to be there for my kid. So we, I said, hey, look, we're not going to just be together because we have a kid. We both agreed on that, and, it works out pretty good since, so, we had our child, first son, Landon, and I was, like, absolutely terrified. Like, I held him like he was the most fragile thing in the entire world because I was terrified of, like, doing anything that would hurt him. So, we got, kids growing up, and, like, those first were awesome. I'm really tired, I'm sorry. So those first were really awesome. It was really cool to see just how, things, like, happen, and, okay, oh my God, he rolled over, like, oh my God, he rolled over at 3 months, my kid's gonna be a freaking genius, like, oh my God, he's gonna be the next Einstein. Because let's face it, all parents do that. And then, I am really tired, I'm sorry. So, and I did, like, let's take him at, 9 months old to a baseball game, like, because he doesn't have the rest of his life to enjoy a baseball game, but we need to do it now. So we did things like that. And then, about when my son was 9 months old, I decided, hey, look, I want to make an honest woman out of this, my girlfriend at the time, so we got married. And it was awesome. It was right as we got married, my son was starting to walk. We had a really long day. Right as we got, like, married, my son was starting to walk, so he got to walk, me and my mom down the aisle. And seeing, my wife coming down the aisle, man, she looked amazing. Like, easily 10 out of 10. She's a 10 out of 10 normally, so like 15 out of 10. So, we got married, and then, we bought a house. But, then, like, we realized, like, all right, we need to do some family planning. So, when my son was, like, 2, that's when we started being pregnant. I always said we decided to get pregnant, but let's face it, she got pregnant. Like, I was not carrying around a child for 9 months. I didn't do nothing. Like, all I did was make sure she got to her appointments on time, and that's about it. I didn't do nothing. That was all my wife, and I commend her for that. So we had another one, and then I gotten used to how to raise a, 2-year-old. Like, okay, all that jazz and everything. And so, and then when we brought our daughter home, I was like, holy crap, I totally forgot how to raise an infant again. Like, I forgot everything. And the thing is, with boys, like, you get it, like, men are different, men know, like, how to, change a diaper with a boy. It's like you have your, everything's outside. Well, that's a better terminology. So, with my daughter, I was, like, changing her, like, if I was, like, she was a porcelain doll. And then I realized, like, you just, front to back. You do that, you're going to have a good day. Sorry, it's been a long day. I was up early. So, I'm really not looking forward to sort of help my buddy move, but, he helped me move, so, what's right is right. That's a side note. If you ever a friend ever helps you move, like, you are bound by law to help him move if it's anything. And here's my thing: if he helps you move from one place to another, and they ask you, like, hey, can you help me move a couch or something? Like, that doesn't cover it at all. That, not even the least bit. Like, you gotta help him move at least a few things to make it even. Because let's face it, that buddy, like, just buying him beer and pizza doesn't cover it. So, anyway, back to kids. So now, like, my 2-year-old, he's like a rambunctious, wild little boy. Like, let's face it, the kid has more energy than even, like, if he just sucked down, like, 5 Red Bulls. Like, that, I would love to have a toddler's energy, because it's like, like, you wake up at, like, 7 a.m., you are ready to go. Like, let's start running now. And then you run all day long, and then like at the end, it's like, all right, well, lights are off. Better like just turn that off. Like I'd love to turn it off. So I'd love to be able to just like, oh, okay, lights on, like, let's go, like, let's start running. And then, when lights up, like, oh, time to go to bed. Because he falls asleep, like, at a drop of a hat. Like me, I gotta, like, chill out, get my own pajamas on, and, settle down with a good book or a TV show. And, I guess I'm tired. And do the routine, like, all right, lock the house up, get the dishes done, all that fun stuff. That, like, adulting sucks. So you do all that, and then you get to bed, and then an hour later, you're like, oh man, God, I'm even more tired. Which I am, because I haven't slept good lately. Oh, what's the deal? I toss and turn in the night. So, back to being a father. So it's amazing. I have so much fun with my kids. Even if it's just sitting around. The other night, he was putting a sheet over his head, and pretending he was a ghost. And he was saying, "It's not a ghost, Dada, it's me." And you would just see that pure happiness in his face. The other day we went fishing, and he got a little Spider-Man, fishing pole that has no tension whatsoever, that couldn't even catch a minnow. But he would stick his entire tip of the pole in the water, wait 5 seconds, pull it out of the water, no fish. So it's just cool things like that you get to do. And I understand hey, why maybe some people don't want kids or whatever. But for me, it's I just never thought I could be this happy in life. Sometimes things suck. Me and my wife get in fights. Every couple does. But at the end of the day, I love her, and one of the things is, no matter how pissed off we are at each other, I always tell her I love her.